called the black hole. This thing is really good. Here. Hey, this is Brian from Logic Pro Hacks. It is a wonderful Monday evening. Yes, I'm coming back at you again. Once I get on a roll, I just can't stop. I love doing this. No, seriously, I have some time available and I like talking about cool music things. And what are we talking about again? Yes, it's Kontakt. Oh yes, I love Kontakt. It is my new to-go sampler. I am using it to replace the EXS24. This guy hasn't really been updated in almost over 14 years. Logic wants to update everything else, but not this guy. This guy relies on Finder or Spotlight or whatever you want to call it to index your computer, and you hope and pray that it finds a sample. And most of the time, if your permissions are off or if something else goes wrong, it will not find the sample. I'm just getting tired of dicking with it all the time so I can find no effing samples. You know what? Screw you. And plus, this has way more capabilities. Plus, you can set the directory where you want to look for samples. You don't have to rely on this archaic technology called Finder, or whatever it is, to actually make music. So, that said, we're going to do a little bit of sampling today. I'm kind of converting things over. I'm decided to just do it the manual way, and I find that I'm actually having some fun doing this. As I learned that by creating my own samples or repackaging them from other samples I did a while ago, I'm adding new things to them, and I'm finding, hey, I could do it this differently. So that's what we're doing today. When you're doing sampling, Kontakt is actually pretty cool with you doing it. You know what I mean? They don't fight you. They actually encourage you to do sampling. And what I mean by that is it's pretty darn easy. There's a couple things, and I'll show you how to kind of get around them. When I process the samples, I don't really want to jerk around with trying to figure out which key is which. Let's kind of go into where I keep all my samples at. You'd think they'd be in samples, but no, I'm in the process of moving them over in my user directory and excess factory samples, and this is where I've been keeping them. There's a couple in here that I made a while ago, and I'm thinking, you know, I want to redo them. So I'm thinking today there was one that was kind of cool, and I think it was like this one. I did this one a while back, and you can see them. They're all named A1 all the way down. So I think this is a good one to start with. But I'm thinking, you know, I don't want to just name them A1 and I come back to them like, what the heck did that go to? The keys are all right, because when I sample them, I created the keys and all that, and that's okay. So, but I want to add the name big affix base to the title of it. I use this little program here called Name Changer. It's a free app. Just Google it. You can find it out there. And it's a wonderful app for doing things like this. What I'll do is I'll just kind of highlight all these and just drop and drag in here. And you click down here and I can say prepend, 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 pretend. Sounds like that. And then I'll just type in, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'll prepend like that. But, however, Kontakt actually likes the underscore. We do something like this. So the name I want is I want to do affix base. So A, not all caps. I want to do something like that. Affix base, and then we do underscore. We can do group name. So the first one will be the group name, actual zone group, and the second one will be the actual instrument name or sample name, affix base, the key, which is affix, then after the key it goes velocity number, but we're not doing velocity, you know, A whatever sharp, and then and then you'd have a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or something like that, and then that would be your naming convention. So you go group name, so we call this like, you know, base group affix, and then instrument name, and then key, and then velocity number. But since this is a very simple sample set, I just need that right there and my key. I'm not doing anything else. We're good to go. I'm just going to reference another video that I have that explains how to number everything. So I'm not going to go into that detail because I've already covered this in that video. So how I got these numberings, it's really not hard. It's very easy to do. And I kind of go in detail on this name changer too. And I use that to make my numbers. So what I'm doing here is I'm kind of correcting some things so that Kontakt will recognize things. It will still recognize things the way it is, but the other problem I run into is a lot of times I'll do searches for duplicates, but it doesn't actually have the name. So this will come up in my duplicate finder and it'll be like, hey, this matches the other thing, but it's not. It's so if I have the name big affix on there, it won't come up in my duplicates, if that makes sense. Alright, so what I want to do, I also want to put an actual number so that it numbers from, instead of like right now it's sorted by the A's, the C's, and all that. I don't want it to sort that way. I actually want it to sort by lowest note on the piano to the highest note. And this is just for, how do you say, posterity's sake or whatever you want. I'm kind of super anal about the way I like to sample, and I like to see my low notes first. Just gives me a real easy way to say, oh, that's my low note because it starts with a 1. So that's kind of my thinking in that. Now, how I do this, and I get this going here, is I do need some help. So right now I have these little text files. One's called 88 program. It's got all 88 numbers assigned to an actual number key there. And I got this one here. This was a drum thing. So I'm going to use the drum thing. And let's go ahead and just do a duplicate. And I'll just call this on. You have to know how many notes that you're using. On this one, there's 40 notes. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to name this 40 key. And then I'm going to call it my bass note sequence. And we'll just get rid of that copy real quick. There we go. And let's go ahead and edit it. I like to use this program called Sublime. Great text editing program. And in here, I'm using this plugin, and it formats things for you. And it's a great note-taking app. And the cool thing about it is it formats, like if you have a pound sign, it'll change the color. And I like that because I can see right ahead that, hey, these are different, and it doesn't look all confusing to me. The other thing that you'll notice is I don't have any numbers in here. I just have letters, but they're sorted from lowest note on the piano all the way up to the highest note. It's really important you keep that sorting, because if you don't, you're going to be playing keys that are not actually in the right key. Alright, so we do know that out of this 40 note, the E1 is the lowest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go find the E1, and I'm going to knock out these. Make that my number 1. And if we look up here, we know that the G4 is the highest. I actually had to go into my name changer, and I had to find, I had to sort them all manually because stupid me, I didn't put my actual number in front of it to keep the sorting. So like, anyways, we're doing this again. So then the last note here is G4, so we'll just kind of just do this. We'll go ahead and find our G4, and that was right there. So just delete everything. Make sure there's no return after that, so that'll work. Just go ahead and just hit save. File save. Good. So now I got everything correct, and you can see I added this thing up here. See how if I add in another underscore, it puts that, and I make sure that this is So if I did before, it's going to do that. So I want to make sure it's after digits. And I could do replace or append or prepend. If you do append, it's going to do that. We'll go ahead and rename this. And so I'll show you a little trick here. We're going to have to go back and rename it again, but it's okay. Alright, let's go ahead and rename. Alright, so we got all these in here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to pick this one here called append. I'm going to put in the file name. It's a .aif. There we go. That's easy. I fixed that. Boom. Alright, so let's go ahead and clear it out. So now what we have here is we have the kind of the way I wanted the samples to work. You know, go all the way up. They're all matching. They work right, and they should be. If I play it, it's good. So now, blah. I always hate that part of sampling. You watch this video and you always see people just rushing through things because you want to make your video shorter than 10 minutes. So let's go ahead and pop this guy out. When you do Kontakt, you know, make sure that when you do sampling, you want to make sure that you do it from the actual program. So, anyways, because it allows you to do this, and whereas in Logic you can't do that. All right, so there they are. We made a right here. So there we go. So that's what I wanted. So let's go ahead and just drop and drag. Highlight everything and just drop it in here. And I'm going to do one note for note. And the cool thing is you can go out as far as you want and it will know. But I don't really need that much for this bass. So it's an E1. And where's E1? E1's right here, I think. And that's right here. There we go. I think that's E1. It's hard to see. Oh, let's go ahead and just pop that out. There we go. That's better. And if we pick on that one, it says G4, and we got G4 right there. Perfect. So then let's go ahead and just click this guy out a little bit longer. We'll put him to C0, and then we're going to take this guy, click in here, and put him out to, I don't know, C6. So then if we play it on the keyboard, it should play. Yeah, nice sound. So now let's kind of tweak it up a little bit. I'm not really sure what I wanted to do with it. Here's a cool little trick. Like if I say like I wanted to loop all these samples, there's not really any automation in Kontakt to do any looping. However, there are some shortcuts that kind of took me a little bit to figure out and find. And I'll show you how to do these shortcuts. The first thing you need to do is we're going to open up our wave editor. We get there by clicking on this little guy right here, and it comes up and you're saying, oh my gosh, it's in there, it's so small, it's kind of hard to work in and see. So you just click this little thing over here and it pops out nice and big. And if you need to change the size, you just kind of go in here, but I like the big size. I think it's nice to work with. So then to enable looping, you just click on the number 1 right there, or you can hit the power button. That'll do it too. So it enables it. So if I was to take the E1 sound, I just hold it down, it automatically loops for you. Now the cool thing about this is we can go ahead and we can set our endpoints and all that visually. In Logic EXS, you never had the ability to really do this well. It just, yeah, it had a thing, but it didn't have these markers that you can move around like so, and I really like that. Now the new Alchemy has that, but I don't really care for the way Apple did Camel's Alchemy. I just kind of feel like they ruined it, and I don't like it, but I do like this. Really nice to work with. Kind of move it a little more. kind of feel like you never really get a true loop. Now, I did see one guy, he reversed the sample, and he was able to combine two samples that were like one normal sample and one that was reversed, and combined them, and he was able to get that the perfect loop point. And he did that in Reaper. That's why I was asking earlier if anybody has done any sampling work in Reaper. I'm definitely going to do that. There. Oh, that's better. Not bad. I like it. I like the movement in the sound, so that's kind of what I'm going after. Yeah, that's really nice right there. So, we like the way it's moving right here. Now, here's the cool thing. And this is kind of like all the other samples are the same size, so hey, wouldn't it be cool if we just copy this all over? Well, we can do that. All right, let's go ahead and let's select all of these. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to click on this one. Sometimes you might have to click on it just a couple times, make sure you get it. And then I'm going to go over here. I'm going to click on this little cogwheel thing. And this is kind of strange. It says to all selected zones. Then it says copy current zone loop settings. It's kind of like it's backwards. You would think that it would say copy current zone loop settings and then to all selected zones, but I don't know. It took me a while to figure that out, but you just do this, you copy that, and what it's going to do is it's going to copy the one that we just created, and it's going to paste them all the way up to the next 39 zones. Let's go ahead and hit that. It's going to come up with the warning that says, hey, this might take some time, please do not force quit. If you have an older computer, this will take some time, so we'll just do that, hit OK, and just kind of sits there and does nothing. The little wheel will spin for a second. That's okay, it's doing its thing. And boom, it's done. Now, if you have a slower computer, it will take a while. I got 8 cores going on, so just FYI, it does take a bit. So then if we go ahead and we spot check each sample, we'll see that it's there. See how I did that? And if we play that, I'm not going to play the high note because it'd be annoying. Perfect. Good. So that's going to be a really nice bass sound that I'm kind of going after, and I might actually just keep that loop point. Alright, that's good to go. And that was so easy, you know? You don't really have to do anything else. We can go and just close these out, close that out, and we're done with our looping. Got our samples in, and that was really fast. Really, it only took me more time to actually name the stupid sample than actually process it in Kontakt. And that's what I like Kontakt for. Now we can do some of the fun stuff, and we can actually put in a filter. So one of the cool things that I like to do is I like to put in kind of like, there's this filter in here that's really good. It's a low pass. And there's a ladder filter, an LP4. This one is actually modeled after the Moog filter. And it's just a really nice, smooth filter, and I just love it. It's got a really nice cutoff, and if we hear it play right now, it's a nice tone. And then what we can do is we can take this cutoff point right here, and we can, you know, we can put it on an LFO, or we can do an envelope. Like they have this thing called AHDSR, not an ADSR, but an AHDSR. It's like it's got like ADHD like all over the place, you know? I know, it's a bad joke. Alright, so we click on that one, and what it does is it maps it to an actual ADSR. So what we want to do is I'm going to increase the attack, something like that. Just kind of play with it. And then we also want to kind of maybe increase our decay a little bit and our release. Hear that? Zero, that bounce back? That's cool. Only in a Moog filter you can get that. And we could play with it a little bit more. We could do, you got this curve too, which is kind of cool. You know, do something like that. Kind of like straighten out like so. Cool. Nice. And let's go ahead and we'll save our bass here. Do save. Save edited instrument as. Now when you go in here, I have folders that I'm doing, and I'll make a new one called bass. And the cool thing is you can do patch only, which you have to make sure that your sample folder location is always there where it is, or it won't know where to find it. Or you can do patches and samples. What that will do is actually create a folder to store all your samples and then put the NKI file outside of that folder, which is nice. Or you can do monolith, which that means it actually compacts all the samples and creates an NKA file. And I kind of like the monolith better because I don't have like a folder and a file. I just want to click on the file and not worry about samples. So that's kind of why I do a monolith. And plus, what I'm doing is, you know, say like if you want to make a nice little sample pack, sell it on eBay or wherever, or to your friend, or say, hey, you do monolith, and you know it kind of prevents people from, you know, taking samples out and doing things with it that you don't really want them to do. So it kind of protects that. That's what the monoliths do. So that's what I do. So I'm going to name this, I'm going to call it Big Affix Bass with Res Bass. And I just kind of put I don't know, I just don't like using spaces. Maybe it's back in my programming days or whatever. Just something like that. Big Affix Res Bass. Hit save, and I'll copy all the samples down. And if we go to the folder, so we can go ahead and just close this out. Open up Logic. If we do a new instrument, do software instrument. Go ahead and pick our Kontakt stereo. And if we go into our folder where it was, bass, there it is right there. Big Affix Res Bass. Drop that in there. And if we put our reverb, we can do like a nice bus one and do a nice reverb. This reverb is the bomb. Check this out. It's called the Black Hole. This thing is really good. Here. I don't know, I'm just having fun with it. You can actually get Eventide plugins running a subscription service. If you go to their site, download authorization program called Gobbler. And what it is you pay $30 a month. You can actually get every single Eventide plugin for $30 a month. I think that's a stellar deal. I don't know them. I don't do any business with them. I just, when I find something that's really cool, you know, and the thing is say like, hey, I'm not really going to do anything. I'm just going to not pay the $30 for a month because I don't really plan on using it next month. So I'm not going to pay it next month. But I may pick it up again and say, all right, I got a project where I will use this, and so I'll pay the $30, and that means I can use that. I can also use the harmonizer. That's a really good one. The H3000, all these different things. Really cool stuff. They got so many different reverbs, and I just think it's really cool. So like if we do a preset here, Dark Matter. Oh my gosh. Mix level. Yeah, there it is. It's so overkill, but anyways, having fun with this, doing sampling. I just love it. That's a cool sample I built. I like it. It sounds pretty cool. Add it to my other sounds I made the other day. So, hey, I'm going to be loading some of these sounds up on Logic Pro Hacks. Put them in a big pack of presets that you can download and buy at logicprohacks.com, and it should be released real soon. So just keep a lookout for that. Then again, remember, my friends, be groovy. All right. Peace. Peace out.